Hey everyone, Ravenna from Triple Moon Goddess 88 here. A few weeks ago I started receiving downloads about what I'm about to talk about. And then I was told to hold off. And then I was climbing into bed last night and getting all comfy, and then universe is like, no, you've got stuff to write down. So I had to get back up again and finish what I had started writing a few weeks ago. So basically, they're wanting, and a lot of people know this, but this is for people that may need a reminder or may need this information because they haven't heard this before. So basically, they're saying rejection is protection. And when you are rejected from something, you're either being redirected to something that's better, or you'll be protected from something that you can't and may not see. So things like tower moments that could happen, they're helping prevent certain tower moments. Some tower moments we need to go through as part of our journey, part of our life, part of our learning, and all that sort of stuff. But the tower moments I'm talking about are things that could cause us harm and are not supposed to be part of our journey. It could be, and this is just in general with you're feeling like the rejection and stuff. It could be people leaving your life abruptly, or job loss, or having to find somewhere else to live, or that job interview that you went for a job that you're qualified for, and you can't understand why you didn't get it. Well, there was a reason why universe has sort of put up a blockage to that, is because it's protecting you from something you can't see. It might not be, a good working environment. It might not, there might be something better that you can't see around the corner that's going to pay more, or better working environment, or something that's going to be something that helps you grow and learn even more, and elevate you higher in some way, more money, or it's got room in that, wherever it is, for growth and to expand and be promoted for higher levels, or whatever it is. That's just an example. No matter if it's a job or a relationship, something you've applied for, something you've worked on for a long time but can no longer do, or no longer works for you. It could be something that you're trying to manifest that doesn't happen. Universe sort of says it may be because you have more work to do on self in regards to healing something within. It may be because you're meant for something more, something bigger, and universe wants to put you on the right path, or has something better coming. It could be protecting you from, as I said before, from some sort of toxic situation, or preparing you for something even better, even though it may seem or not feel like that at the time. It may put you in the path of something that you feel that it might not fit for whatever reason, or I'm better qualified than to do this, but for whatever reason, universe is putting you there or placing you there because there's something that you're going to get out of that situation, whether it be a lesson or you're going to be able to sort of progress to something that's even more fulfilling or an even better situation. But whatever it is, at that time, universe is saying no. They have bigger and better plans for you, and when it comes, you'll understand, why. So they say just keep going with whatever the plan is. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, you can get down, and you especially if you've been working really hard, and releasing and surrendering and still nothing's happening. It can really bring you down and make you wonder, why have I been doing all this if there is nothing happening? But there is, there's lots of different reasons. There's work going on in the background that we can't see, that universe is working on. And maybe universe is just asking us to rest. And that's sort of where I've been the last sort of several weeks, is releasing and surrendering and knowing that things are going to be changing. And I'm just wanting to, okay, let's move, let's get going, let's get things happening. And universe is like, no, you've been doing all this work. Now you need to breathe. Now you need to stop and rest. All those lessons that you've been, learning and working on and healing through and everything, you now need to integrate that into yourself now so that you can be ready for what I've got coming for you. So even though it has been a little bit frustrating and I just need to learn that, okay, there's a reason, Now, universe also tests us. Tests us to see if it's something that we really do want, but also tests us to see if we've learnt from previous mistakes or lessons. I won't call them mistakes because they're all lessons. But they're also testing to see if what we want and what they want to give us, that we can actually hold. That we can be given all our dreams and our desires and our wishes and our manifestations, but can we actually hold them when they're presented to us? And sometimes universe is like, you've just got to fine tune a couple things and then know that, so that gives us that pause or that redirection at that time. There's and sometimes, as I said, they're trying to protect us, and sometimes, we can stubbornly try and push forward and not listen to those messages from universe, all those, where we've been redirected from, and things don't end up well for us. And, then you realise, they were telling us that for a reason, and then we've just ended up in this situation, in this mess. But sometimes they give us those lessons until we learn the lesson as well. So, and sometimes we sort of become almost obsessed with what we think we want, the material or the material things or the relationships or, we become too narrow focused or too busy looking at what is missing from our lives or what's hurt us, to really see what universe is offering as well. it's kind of like the 4 and the 5 of the cups. You know, we've got one of them that we're too busy looking at the past and you know, dwelling on what was, or we've got the other that we're too busy looking at our empty cups to see what really is full in our lives, and what could come. And you know, I know we always say, you know, what's meant for us will never pass us by. And that's true to an extent. But there's also the other side of that where, you know, yes, we all have free will. But if we're making decisions, you know, that take us away from where universe is guiding us, you know, we quite often end up in those karmic lessons. I mean, yes, karmic lessons, they do say that's something that we're meant to go through, but to keep making the same decisions in different situations, you know, we're missing out on what universe wants to bring into our lives. And that's also with taking too long to make decisions as well. Energetically, universe is going to think, well, they don't want that. If they're not making that decision, they don't want that. So we're going to redirect and send them through another lesson until they get it, or until they're ready. You know, even though universe knows you're ready, you're doubting yourself. So you miss out on those opportunities because of your own decisions or lack of decisions. You know, energetically, universe picks up on the not so much the situations, but the energy around the situations that we are going through at that time. So it's something to sort of think about when it comes to making your decisions or not making decisions, because they're decisions in itself, really. Now, I know that what I just said may not be a belief that others believe, but it's something that I've witnessed throughout my own life, not only with myself, but observing others. You know, seeing people wanting to manifest and wanting to change circumstances, and I've done this myself too. You know, that's it. Just put hands up in the air, leave it to universe, and without any action on our part to actually make those manifestations happen. And that comes a lot down to, you know, not believing in ourselves a lot of the time, not believing in our worth, you know, and other unhealed parts of self that feels that we don't deserve. You know, this is deep down, you know, that you don't deserve the manifestations. So that's the energetic level that universe feels and sees. So, you know, even though we might be saying things on the surface, yes, I'm worthy, yes, you know, I want this, and you know, but it's deep down inside that, well, they want you to believe that wholly and truly, and they'll keep redirecting you to different lessons different situations, different teachers, different healers, situations, people, places, things, until we get it, and we start to have that faith and that belief in ourselves, so that it can give us what they want to give us. They want to see us have these fulfilled, happy, healed lives. So as it says here, most of the time, universe wants us to take the path that scares us. And that's another thing too, that's a lot to do with the indecisions and making the wrong choices in our lives, is we doubt, or we get too scared, and it's easier to make a safer choice because we already know that path, but it wants to give us, most of the blessings that we want in our lives. It may not show up the way you want it to, may not it may not be what you think or how you think things should be or could be. It gives it to you in a way they know you need. And then, as I was saying about, taking the path that scares us, they want us to take that path because it's a real path. And especially if we've been on the one path so long and it's caused us nothing but heartache and pain, it'll keep presenting that path until we do learn the lessons. But also, once we've learned those lessons, it'll test us to see if we'll take that path again, to see if we are ready for what they want to actually give us, and if we can stand in our power and use our discernment. And it'll keep giving it to us in different ways until we get it. Once we've learned that, and once we take that other path, blessings are going to start coming in. And I don't just mean, materialistic, or it'll be abundance in different ways. It'll be new, evolved lessons without the hardship. It'll be more gentle. It's about growing and evolving and living a fulfilled, happy life. It's not always rainbows and, sunshine, but I believe myself that once we've been through some of the hardest things that we could ever be through, have ever been through, and that's through universe, redirecting us throughout our lives. And sometimes if we're stubborn, I know I would keep repeating the same lessons, same mistakes, make decisions through those unhealed parts of self until, got to the stage where you sort of get that wake-up call and that redirection to head towards a path that helps you grow and learn and heal and evolve. So sorry, I'm just reading what okay, universe wants us to pick the unfamiliar path because that's where the blessings are, that's where the growth, that's where the healed parts of ourselves can breathe, can love, can laugh, live authentically, happy, healed, and learning new beautiful things instead of the hard lessons that repeat over and over. And if we listen to universe and follow their guidance, or our angels, guides and loved ones, our intuition, all that sort of stuff, we will know what to do and when to do it. And I think that comes from being redirected and learning and healing and evolving, and learning to trust yourself and the universe to guide you, and that's the point that we all need to get to, I think, so that we can know just within ourselves that trust and that faith in universe to, and in ourselves. And sometimes we can't see the bigger picture, even with the redirection, as I said earlier. And when you do it in, hang on, I have to read this word for word. This is what they've asked me to write down. Okay. And when you do it, it can be in small, gentle ways, like a soft exhale, or it can be in really big epiphanies and aha moments of, oh, yeah. So when you're remembering and you're looking back and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, that's why that was. Or, oh, okay, thank you, universe, There may be times in your life you've looked back at different options you've had to choose from in certain circumstances, and you think to yourself, I should have chosen this or that. But in those moments at that time, you weren't listening to universe or your intuition. A lot of the times we made decisions in fight or flight mode, or from fear, or survival mode, or from places of feeling unworthy or abandonment, a place of lack, just the other unhealed parts of ourselves that we don't actually see that there are other options at that time, because we're in that frame of being that we just don't see it. And I think it's once you start that growth and that healing, that's when universe is, they're ready. Okay, let's take them on this path. They're willing to listen and open up now. And as you heal, you're able to make decisions from that space. You're able to sit with decisions for a moment instead of a knee-jerk reaction or response, with those walls up and that deflection of no, I don't want that. Whereas as you heal and you're guided towards redirection and whatever path that may be, you're coming at it from a different perspective, different mindset, different way of being. You process things differently. You take your time to make a decision, and you learn to listen to yourself and feel that. I mean, yeah, there's times that you can make quick decisions because that's an instant yes. Like, you can feel that. It's just instant yes or instant no. Sometimes you do need to sit with things for a minute. But universe will always guide you or test you. You learn to ask for guidance from universe when you do make decisions. You do, go within to ask yourself and trust your intuition on that. And you may still feel scared, and that's perfectly okay. But you do it anyway. So, because you know it's right and you feel it's right, and and you know within yourself that you are making decisions from a much better place, you know, decisions that may be presented to you some time ago that you straight up rejected or jumped straight into, whereas now you'll make that decision in a different way and realise that, well, maybe I should have done that or could have done that, you know, or not done that and made a better choice, or whatever it is. You know, when you do make the right choice for yourself, you know you're not just taking the easier choice or the known choice. You know, the unfamiliar always scares us, doesn't it? You know, most of the time in an exciting way. And that's usually the redirection that universe wants us to take, is to take that path for whatever reason. It's you know, it brings us something, even if we can't see what that is. You know, and universe breathes a bit, you know, a big sigh of relief when we do make those decisions and take those paths that they're directing us towards. Because the universe is our biggest cheerleader at the end of the day, our biggest protector. You know, it'll and it wants more than anything to see us become who we were always meant to be, who we are, who we've forgotten who we are sometimes. But sometimes it sees us doing even more beautiful and amazing things that even we think we are capable of. So everything that they redirect us towards and directs us from is to protect us and to help us grow. So, you know, rejection is protection and redirection. And I think that the universe will always have our back in that way. Always. But anyway, I'm going to leave that at that, guys. And if you would like a personal reading, my information's in the bio. Please do not answer any messages from anyone that reaches out to you, because I will never reach out to you. So please be aware of scammers. Block, report, delete, all that stuff. And please follow, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. That way it gets out to the people it needs to get out to at the right place at the right time. So thank you very much and have a good day.